Hello all, this is Ween, and if you love cemeteries and haunted places and history as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. In today's episode, we are headed to Atlanta to visit the Westview Cemetery. It is a huge, beautiful cemetery, 500 and some acres of land, so very, very large. It is actually the southeastern United States' largest civilian cemetery. And just a cool fact, if you loved the hit show Ozark on Netflix, some of the filming took place in this cemetery at their Westview Abbey mausoleum, which is awesome. I went back and actually looked at some of the footage from the show, and you can clearly see some of the scenes at Navarro's house took place at the chapel in the mausoleum, which is really awesome. Like, you can see the stained glass, you can see the exact molding around the door frame and everything. So it's really, really cool. And we watched all of Ozark, so we're kind of Ozark fans. And a lot of the filming of Ozark actually took place right around in that area of Atlanta. And they do a lot of filming for movies in Atlanta. I didn't even know. While we were there, they were actually shooting a film. It's some new movie coming out called Bank Heist, I believe, taking place in Los Angeles. But it's actually not filmed in Los Angeles. It's filmed right there in Atlanta. And one of our Lyft drivers was telling us all about how they film there all the time for different movies and TV shows. So that was kind of cool. I didn't know that about Atlanta. Check it out. I hope you enjoy. We've arrived at the beautiful Westview Historic Cemetery here in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go in and see what we can see. Just came into the front entrance, and as we're walking, this man stopped and asked us what we were trying to do. He said it's going to be a 2-mile walk all the way around the cemetery, but in the meantime, you're going to see all this wildlife, deer and turkeys, and like there's a turkey right over here. We've seen ducks. So it's a very scenic walk into the cemetery and around the cemetery. This cemetery is 582 acres of land, I think, or 532, something like that. It's a lot. So we're gonna have a lot to see here, and I'll take lots of pictures. There are so many magnolia trees here, and just beautiful trees. This is a big old, some kind of a pine tree. But I saw this monument up here, and I'm walking uphill to get to it. We've definitely burned some calories on this trip. All of Georgia is uphill, it seems like. But there's got to be hundreds of magnolia trees everywhere you go. Look at this. Look at this monument. Oh, wow. This is a veterans, some kind of veterans memorials here, I think. Yeah. All the veterans have footstones going all the way around this monument in the middle. Look at that. Look at this here. It's like a lighthouse or a castle or something. This is just awesome. Erected by the Confederate Veterans Association of Fulton County, Georgia, in memory of, it says, our dead comrades. Well, that's just straight and to the point, isn't it? I would have chose the word fallen or something. Wow. Let's look at the detail on each side here. They shall beat their swords into plowshares. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Of liberty, born of patriots, And it's kind of broken off over here. Looks like some. It's very neat. Beautiful monument. Look at these magnolia trees. They are just everywhere, and they're in bloom right now, which is really nice. Oh, I see a big section over here. We're gonna check this out. Looks like they're still entering here, and there's a lot of really wide open sections. So a lot of space if you want to be buried here. This is the largest cemetery, the largest civilian cemetery in the southeastern United States. So it is huge and so beautiful. Look at this huge obelisk. It is so big. It's almost the size of the real Washington Monument. Nah, not quite, but still just crazy big. This is a Rogers plot here, looks like. Or maybe, let's see. This is Grace Rogers Stevens. This here is Gress. So, are these all Gresses? Nope, that's Thornton. Thornton plot. So, these wide open spaces, you know, looks like there's no one buried here, but they're footstones. Probably over in that area too. I just had to come and see this monument. So big. There's all the historic, a bunch of historic stuff over here. So I'm gonna check that out. There's a whole part over here close to the entrance that's newer. A newer area of the cemetery. You can tell by the headstones. There's a historic mausoleum here, supposedly. This one is built into the side of the hill. Yeah, this is it. Established in 1888, or built in 1888. Oh, wow. It's a receiving vault. Westview Receiving Vault, built in 1888. When the cemetery was 4 years old. Dimensions, length 25 feet, width 30 feet, height 18 feet, normal capacity 36. Until the early 20th century, roads through the cemetery were often impassable in winter, when ice, snow, and mud bogged down the horse-drawn hearse. It was here that the casket was kept until the weather permitted interment. Great service to the community was rendered by this vault during the winter of 1917 through 1918, when Atlanta's influenza epidemic claimed hundreds of lives. Victims were brought here awaiting burial. This vault was permanently sealed in 1945 because of the availability of thousands of crypts in the Westview Abbey mausoleum. Pretty cool. Yeah, I read about this a little bit online. I'm glad we at least ran into this, because we definitely are not going to be able to cover 582 acres of land. I saw a picture of this one online, and the photograph just doesn't do it justice. Isn't that cool? It's huge. A lot of the monuments here are. It's a beautiful cemetery, and no shortage of stuff to look at, but a lot of rules. Like, you can't ride a bike in here or jog or anything. You have to walk. I took a picture of all the rules. So, but walking around this thing, you'll get a good amount of exercise. 2 miles all the way around. Look at that. It's beautiful. And it's an uphill climb. You'll probably hear that I'm a little out of breath. Everything's like uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. So, very much like the cemeteries in Cincinnati that were on big hills. Look how pretty that is. so glad I looked this one up. I actually thought that the Oakland Cemetery was the biggest cemetery in Atlanta. Had I known or realized, I probably would have done this one first because we had a little more time. But we're catching a plane today at 1 o'clock, so we only have about an hour to spend here in the cemetery. Look at it. Beautiful. G.O.C. Smith. Good old Fudge. Fudge Darden, buried right here in this cemetery. This is wild. There's another Rogers. We see a lot of Rogers all over the South. I told my husband that is not uncommon. That's my maiden name. But I see it everywhere. That's my relatives. Look at this, how pretty. Stevens. So unique. Just look at the cemetery. It just goes on and on and on and on. These monuments are just crazy beautiful. Look at this. It says, in memory of Jesse Parker Williams, born in Wayne County, North Carolina, December 27th, 1842, died in Atlanta, Georgia, August 5th, 1913, and his wife, Cora Best Taylor, February 14th, 1860 to March 22nd, 1924. And then there's this whole row of mausoleums over here. You could probably peer into a couple of them. Kellett. Oh yeah, you can see the beautiful stained glass in there. Someone's visited recently for Easter, looks like. Look at this. Little bench. Got a beautiful rug. Nice. Bert. Another beautiful stained glass. If you're wanting to see the whole cemetery, you're going to need to give yourself a couple days, 2-3 days to look at everything. Right now, as per usual, I'm more focused on the more historic areas of the cemetery because that's going to be the most interesting parts of the cemetery. But look at this. It's so hilly and there's so much ground to cover. Like, there's just no way we're going to see it all. But we definitely have some beautiful pictures that we've taken of the cemetery. You're going to want to wear comfortable shoes. You're going to want to carry a bottle of water, especially in the warmer months, because it's a lot of walking. You're going to get parched. You're going to be sweating, you know. Look at this here, Hawks. That's a really pretty mausoleum. Has the columns here in the front. Looks like you can look right in. I've been seeing the name Elvira quite a bit as a middle name here in Georgia. So, at 1, 2, 3 interments. Albert King Hawks, Harriet Elvira Woodbury, and Benjamin Hawks, all laid to rest in one more spot available in there. I'm going to take some group pictures of just the whole cemetery, the cemetery as a cluster, because there ain't no way I can see it all. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe they don't allow bicycling through here.
Let's go down there. There's some interesting stuff.
If a car can drive on the road, why can't a bike?
I don't know, babe. They don't want people here just working out. They want people here to see the cemetery, I guess. There's this beautiful, very huge mausoleum in this cemetery. I saw this online. We are at this mausoleum. Looks like a dadgum castle. It's huge. It's beautiful. Kind of like a peach marble. I'm hoping it's open. Can't get in there. Oh my goodness. Cool. Just look at the detail in the flooring. Beautiful picture of Jesus. I can't get in. Monday through Saturday, 10 to 2. Guess what? I'm within those hours. Huh. Just, it's huge. Look at the ceilings. You go up here. Maybe if we go in through another way. Look at this. This is unreal. There's a whole cathedral in here. Look at this. Look at this ceiling. It's amazing. This is beautiful. We're actually over here where the preacher would stand, I guess, and conduct a service, or maybe even this serves as some kind of chapel as well, obviously. Look at this ornate stained glass. This place is just huge, but so beautiful, so much detail in every piece of this mausoleum. The corridors are long. You can just see how ornate all the molding and everything is. There's like a little bridge up here. And just marble from floor to ceiling. I didn't know anything like this was in Atlanta. I talk to people about Atlanta and they don't have a lot of kind words, but I don't think it was always like that. But then you stumble upon gems like this and you're going, well, obviously Atlanta wasn't always so bad. We're on our way out of the cemetery now. I'm going to take a few more pictures on the way out. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful Westview Cemetery. I thought it was pretty awesome, and I'd like to see more of it, but maybe on the next trip. See you at the next one. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you loved the cemetery. It's one of my favorites now that I've been to so far anyway. Really in my top 10 most beautiful historic cemeteries that I've been to in the United States. So it's very cool. If you are in the Atlanta area, go and visit this cemetery. If you live there, you have no excuse. You need to go visit the cemetery. Our Lyft driver said she lived down the street, but she'd never been there, just for a funeral. But I mean, it's a really cool place to check out. It's very, you know, as you noticed with the headstones and the mausoleums, it's just beautiful. You know, that's what I love about cemeteries is every one of them offers something different. If you love I love architecture is one thing, and that's why I really appreciate seeing a mausoleum like that, because just the work that went into building it and the architecture and the way it's structured like a Spanish hacienda, it's beautiful. So if you are around in the Atlanta area, I hope you do stop by for a visit. While you're there, visit the Oakland Cemetery as well. And if you haven't seen that video, I will link it at the end of this video if you want to go check it out. Anyway, that does it for today's episode. If you haven't already, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. And I'll see you next time.